Hey everybody, welcome back. It's time for something scary. Let's go see Steve.
Oh, Johnny, I'm so glad to see you. I found a goodie today. Come on.
I don't clean at the movies. Ah!
And you know what? I love monster movies. So I decided to do one of my favorites from 1955, Jack Arnold's Tarantula. Now, Universal Pictures kind of cornered the market on horror films in the 50s, you know, and one of their specialties was large bugs and stuff. And usually there were two reasons that these happened. Either someone was experimenting with radiation, an H-bomb had been dropped someplace, or three reasons. A glacier had melted and suddenly it came alive and they were giant bugs and, everything else. This one was one of the first ones that, instead of having, mechanical monster, they used a real tarantula, and they photographed that and superimposed it onto the set. Now, the basic plot is this. John Agar, who was Shirley Temple's first husband, kid, he's a doctor in a local town.
Hi, Doc. Phone's been ringing like crazy for you. Sheriff's half out of his mind.
A guy comes in who has this makeup. They was the standard Universal Pictures makeup. And he's died in the desert. So they want to do an autopsy, and they say that he has acromegalia, which is giantism. And they think this guy's name is Eric Jacobs. They think this is Eric Jacobs. And
I saw Jacobs last month. He looked okay then.
the Professor Deemer, who he lives with, who's played by Leo G. Carroll, comes in and says, "Yes, that's my friend. We were friends for 30 years, and that's him." And John Agar says, "Well, I never heard, that looks like acromegalia." And he says, "Well, that's what it is." He says, "Well, I never heard of it growing like that." He said, "Well, that's what it is. Never mind."
Acromegalia. You heard the man.
He says, "I don't want an autopsy. I just want you to bury him."
Eric had no family. I'll arrange for the funeral.
So he goes back to his laboratory, and when he's back in the laboratory, he's filling around with something radioactive. Well, it turns out what he's doing is that he's working on a nutrient to help the starving populations, and he's using a radioactive isotope, and he's injecting it into animals, and it's causing giantism. And he turns around, and there's this giant guinea pig that makes a noise like a real pig. I don't know. I kind of got off on that. I never heard a guinea pig sounding like an actual hog, but anyway. And then behind him comes this tarantula that is enormous. And through the door comes his assistant. Now, the assistant had done what his friend did and injected himself with this radioactive nutrient, and it's caused this giantism, and it's made him crazy. He starts to strangle Leo G. Carroll, and the place catches on fire, and he throws this chair through the glass, and the tarantula crawls and goes out the back door into the desert. Okay? He then injects the doctor with the same stuff that he has been injected with and died. Doctor wakes up, doesn't know he's been injected, puts the fire out, and buries the guy because he wants to keep it quiet. Okay. In comes Mara Corday.
I wonder if you might tell me the best way to get out to the Deemer place.
Now, Mara Corday was one of those actresses at Universal stacked. This girl was such a sex pot. And usually they were cast as scientists.
I don't suppose it.
I doubt it.
Me too.
And she and John Agar have this kind of romantic thing going along.
Well, you see, I was asking how to get out there, but, well, I wouldn't want to impose on you.
No, he won't mind.
And he's driving her out to see Professor Deemer. By this time, the spider has grown to about the size of a school bus. It's big. She starts to help him, and you watch him, his features are starting to go.
Experimental research is always confidential, be it here or anywhere else.
Professor, your face.
Well, the next thing you see is it's a ranch at night. I have a thing about spiders. I always had a thing about spiders. Always had a thing about spiders. There's all these horses down in this corral. And it's just waiting there on the top of the hill. And it is so scary. I don't know how they got these horses to act. These horses give the best performance in the whole movie. These horses are going ballistic. And then they do this point of view shot where you're inside the fangs. Like you're just beside the fangs are like here, and you're coming down on the horse, It is terrifying. And all they can find the next day are pools of white stuff and bones. So they take some of this white stuff and they go to this professor at the University of Arizona. And John Agar says, "Doctor, do you know what this is?" And he says, "Yes, as a matter of fact, I do. It's from an arachnid."
Well, not precisely. It's from a species called arachnida.
"Doctor, if a tarantula could get that big,
Magnified one of them in size and strength.
what could we expect?"
Then expect something that's fiercer.
"Something more savage, more dangerous, more deadly
More cruel and deadly than anything that ever walked the earth.
than anything man has ever known." And it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It climbs up onto this house and it sticks its fangs through the roof of this house and gets people. It has everything. It's got the trick photography, which really looks real at one point. The actors absolutely, totally committed to what they're doing. This movie is absolute nonsense and total fun. You're gonna love John Agar, Mara Corday, Lil G. Carroll, getting uglier and uglier, and the giant spider, and Jack Arnold's classic Tarantula. Ooh.
Let's all go to the lobby.
Johnny, it's time for monsters, Johnny. I love monster movies.
Delicious.